No. All right, luckily, whatever.
Whoa, don't slip up or get cut.
Why not, man?
I'm coming for that #1 spot.
All right. Woo.
Rappers swearing they on top. But I'm coming for that #1 spot.
All right.
All right, we don't have time for the rest. We're crunched for time, and we don't remember how to do this because it's been how long? It's been I think it was May.
Sounds right.
So it's been 5 months, over 5 months since we last did one of these. Everyone declared us dead. They thought we would never get past 2007, but now we're back.
Don't call it a comeback. Call it a season break.
We'll try not to do only one of these every 5 months from now on.
You know, I was gonna tell you you should introduce the podcast, but then have we ever actually introduced the podcast at the top of the episode?
Yeah, I think so. Probably the
Okay.
first one.
Go for
I have to
it.
go back and listen. And it is still our, we're trying this relaunch because the first episode was by far our most successful one.
Is that
And
true?
yeah, I think it's the only one with triple digit views.
Whoa. And then everyone's like, no, not for me.
Yeah, not for me. That's okay. Well, we're back. Oh my God, this is gonna be a disaster. We're back. We are in the year 2008. We have a brand new guest, first time guest. We have Max. Hello, Max.
Hello.
How are you? You're in Michigan right now.
Ann Arbor.
Ann
That's right.
Arbor, the home of many great music. A lot of music history there.
Yeah. Motor City.
Yep,
Wait, what do you call it? Motown, yeah.
You have,
That's all we listen to.
just Motown. I think
Motown and Eminem.
Eminem.
Yeah.
The Stooges are from Ann Arbor. I don't know.
Oh, from Ann Arbor?
Yeah,
The Stooges? Wow. Okay, that's
Yeah.
actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I think there was like some punk history there, but
Certainly not anymore. There's nothing punk about Ann Arbor anymore. I can tell you that.
no.
You're just in the wrong department, Max. I'm sure if you're in the right department, you know all about the underground punk scene coming up
Yeah.
with the students. but-
Mhm.
There's
No,
there's no current Ann Arbor punk scene. I mean, it's
They'd have to be able to
Downtown.
afford to live here, I think.
yeah. So the way I think we've typically introduced guests is we first ask about our guests' music preferences, their music tastes. So, if I were to ask you in some way to sum up like your music tastes or preferences, however you want to answer that, how would you answer that?
My musical taste and preferences. I'd say I mostly like, indie rock music and hip hop. And of course, stuff like post-punk, older stuff, like from the 80s.
Yeah.
And then going further back, like Velvet Underground. Yeah, I don't know. I used to be very into music, like high school, about 2008 was probably the time I was most into music. And then gradually, I think in college, I joined the WNUR, the rock show, on the Northwestern radio station, and it was too intense for me. I couldn't keep up with it. I couldn't know all the bands and stuff like that.
Were you like with the college rate? I mean, did you feel like you had to like play the newer stuff or
No, they were like, don't play new stuff. You have to like find deep cuts all the time and stuff. And I don't know. I just in general, I'm very like obsessive about stuff. So I'll either be like completely into something and really into it all the time, or I'll just be like, okay, no, I'm not really listening to much music anymore. So I don't know. So like I don't know, I was looking at like my Spotify, and it's like recommends the same the same songs that I always listen to, which is like
Yeah.
recently is like the Talking Heads and like the Wu-Tang Clan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some diversity in there. You
But
made
I'd say importantly for this podcast, I've never been that into pop music. Like the stuff that would be on the Billboard Top 100, and especially in 2008, I was very anti pop music, like 100% anti. And so it's very interesting to revisit it now that I'm a much more open-minded person. And I mean, I was like very snobby back then, and now I'm kind of like, live and let live
yeah.
about it.
No,
Is it
that's
truly never, or was it like for me it was like, I'd say like 4th, 5th, 6th grade window is like fully on board with top 40, and then it was just like slow descent into snobbery and not listening to the current
No. I was the other route into music snobbery, which was like I was really into like dad rock. And like so I got like really into like The Who and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd in like middle school. And then that turned into indie music, and then I met a bunch of friends that were like way more into it than I was, and they were like, oh, you got to check out like David Bowie and the Velvet Underground, and like Television and shit like that. Which was definitely, I really loved it, and I love a lot of those. I love all that music still, but
yeah.
basically well, I don't know if I should say this.
Go for it. We have like 5 listeners.
Well, I used to download a lot of music illegally, and I stopped doing that, and I think it drastically plummeted how like involved of a hobby it was for me. And I've never been fully satisfied with Spotify. They never have quite everything that I want.
Have I got, I was gonna say, I don't know how well it works with non-iPhones, but I try to get everyone to switch to Apple Music because I feel like it just works so much nicer than Spotify. It has just a nicer interface.
Yeah, I switched to Apple Music for like less than a week, and I was just like, this is not really like worth transferring everything over. And yeah, I mean it's interesting because I really didn't use Spotify or any that's like Apple Music or anything like that until like the last year when I started to go back to like in-person work, and like it's just when you're not at your computer, that's just the easiest way to do it. But and actually it's funny, I mean you mentioned a lot of these bands, but you may not remember this, Max, but when I visited Will at one point in college.
Wait, I know what this is. Yeah.
I'm gonna touch on. Okay. There were two albums that I guess somehow he shared with me. I mean, I don't even remember how, but he shared with me that like became very, very influential during that period. Can you name them?
Well, I remember we talked about The Rapture, right?
Oh, that.
We definitely talked about
like the biblical event.
No. They had the theme to that British TV show about the superhero kids. Misfits. Yes, they had the theme, and I remember we talked about that. That's what I remember us
really
discussing. Yeah.
I have no knowledge of
The Rapture is the name of the band, I believe.
Maybe if we did, I was lying because I have no knowledge of the Misfits at all, or I may not be remembering that. But
the Misfits, the TV show, not the band.
Well, I have no knowledge of that either.
Watch it. Good first 2 seasons.
No, but you shared with me or I got from you somehow 2 albums that like when I started listening and like opened up a whole new. So they were the Nuggets compilation.
Oh, fantastic! Which I learned from the WNUR Rock Show people.
Which yeah, I mean, I think that took me a little bit longer to kind of like actually go back and listen to, and I was like, oh my God, like there's this whole history of older like garage punk music that I had no idea of. That, and then the more immediately impactful one, which was Pixies. I think probably Doolittle. And
yeah.
Like I would say, my junior, senior year of college, maybe first year out of college, I was like listening a lot to the Pixies. And I will say, I mean, I still like the Pixies, but like I feel like I never listen to the Pixies anymore, and I don't know why. But it may just be that I listened so much, like when I, first started listening. So yeah,
Well, David, you were also on your college radio station, right?
yeah, yeah, which is why, yeah, I did college radio, and it was like, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I did it all 4 years, but like, that's why I asked about like, feeling pressure to play certain music. Cause like, I think I definitely noticed that like, there are a lot of other shows that would play like new indie stuff that like, I liked, like every other show played like, Fleet Foxes and,
Uh-huh.
what else? Like, I don't know, like Vampire Weekend,
Vampire Weekend.
big one, yeah, big, and like, and I played that stuff too, but I was kind of like, try consciously trying to play like other stuff that probably wasn't as eclectic as I thought it was. But like, older classic rock, hip hop, post-punk, like, all different types of stuff that, and it was nice. I mean, like, there was very few restrictions in terms of like, the only restriction was like, you couldn't allow cursing in your songs, which like wasn't that big of a deal to me. But for other friends who had radio stations, like they had to like wait until 11 p.m. to actually do their show. They could get away with cursing because there was actually a rule. But yeah, so actually you transitioned well to the other question that we started to ask, which is, what did you listen to in 2008? So it sounds like you were very much like, consciously like moving away from like popular current music.
Yeah,
time.
so like 2008, this was like I was really getting into indie rock music at this time. And what I feel like this year was probably the first year that I ever listened to what's it called? In the Aeroplane Over the Sea.
Mhm.
What's the name of that band?
Neutral Milk Hotel.
Neutral Milk Hotel, of course, yeah. Yeah, which was like one of my favorite albums. And for some reason, like Beirut was very popular at this time among my friend group.
Oh,
Yeah. And I was also listening to David Bowie for the first time. So I was just getting into what eventually would probably be, I'd say, one of my main areas of music that I like, which is like 80s music. This like yeah, I mean David Bowie, but then post-punk was also soon to follow.
Sure.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know when did Vampire Weekend come out? Was it like that year?
Yeah, actually
The first one.
I realized just now. So I think it was 2008, maybe 2007, but I think 2008. And actually the first memory I have of Vampire Weekend was for our not college, for our high school newspaper, which Will and I both wrote on. This was senior year. I was like the music like review person because I didn't get an editor job, but it'd be fun to do that anyway. And my first review, I remember like, the first time I could do a review, I was looking to see like what were the, and they said like, it was basically just like choose whatever new album I want to review. And there were two options I was looking at. One was the one I ended up doing was like this Wyclef Jean album, which had like this, actually I think it might have been in the top 100, but it was the song Sweetest Girl, like, which I think was like way down in the top 100 somewhere, but which is like kind of a minor hit. And like, I knew who he was, and I was like, okay, I'll just do this. And it's a very like unmemorable album. And then the other one, which I only heard of, like I didn't know anything about it, but it was like getting all this hype, and it was like listed with, like the new albums was the first Vampire Weekend album. And I remember I like listened to like the singles that came out, I was like, what the hell is this? Like
Yeah.
weird, like what the hell? I was like, no, like this is too weird. And then like, you know, a few years later that they became like one of my favorite bands and still are. So yeah, Vampire Weekend was a big.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely among my friends, that was like immediate sensation album. We were listening to that all the time.
What about you? Well, what were you listening to in 2008?
This is like probably peak lack of awareness of anything current,
Wow.
whether cool and indie or pop. Like this was the midst of probably my largest Beatles obsession. Like, so I was like newly driving. I just had like the 5 CD changer, all with a different Beatles album. Everybody got sick of me giving rides because it was always the same music. Lasted into like freshman year of college, so it was a long one. But like, you know, we've all had our Beatles phases, I'm sure. This is probably like second of 3 for me, and it was just by far the longest lasting and most obsessive. So it was like I was listening to nothing else. I was still a couple of years away. Like college is when I got into like cool indie stuff. So it was just Beatles because I was like snobby enough to not enjoy the stuff on the radio, but not cool enough to have like. So it's probably Beatles and Eve 6 because Eve 6 is just a through line in middle school and high school.
Right, that's the through line for high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of along the same lines in a lot of ways. Like a lot of these, you know, big songs, I felt like I was kind of like actively resisting. And, you know, we've talked about like in previous episodes, like I feel like we've you know, some of our past guests like have always been more into like, you know, the current popular music than Will and I think at certain points. But I think like we kind of all realized like, you know, late 90s, early 2000s, like that was the period when we were all at least, you know, aware and like that's, you know, of like the big popular music. And, you know, that's kind of all we knew largely, you know, to some extent. And then I think like probably within just the last few years that we've done, like, it's like kind of consciously like moving away from, you know, or like, yeah, like trying to like find other, you know, types of music to listen to, like, and I mean, I will say like going back and listening to a lot of these songs, it was interesting to kind of be like, you know, like listening and being like, oh, I remember hating the song and like, but now like, but how do I feel now, you know, or like, oh, I remember liking this song because this is one of the few ones I liked, and like here's what I think now. But yeah, I think a lot of like, I think that, I mean, a big band I discovered, I think around this time was My Morning Jacket for me, which like I was listening to that to the album Z a lot, and 2009 like the next year for me was like the big like indie breakout year, like of like, but I actually Bowie, I think I was started to listen to around this time too. Yeah, definitely David Bowie, and like yeah, I mean kind of like, you know, the foundational like alt rock like stuff, Radiohead, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah, you two are both probably, along with frequent guest and ex co-host Jonathan, definitely two of the biggest influences on new music that I started to get into in college. For Dave would be like early college and, you know, hanging out in breaks and stuff, and then Max later college when we were living together and stuff.
Yeah.
But still a couple of years away.
We have a
more interesting music from
a web of connections between the three of us. All right, let's do it. So let's start off. So we start the year 2008. We have what ends up being the biggest hit of 2008. It is number 1 from January 5th through March 8th, which is 10 weeks. And I don't think we even talked about this. This didn't even end, and this didn't start in 2007. It just started first week 2008.
January 1st.
1st until March. The song of the winter. And it is Low by Flo Rida featuring T-Pain.
I ain't never seen nothing that'll make me go. This crazy all night spinning my dough. Had $1 million vibe in the body to go. Them birthday cakes, they stole the show. So sexual, she was flexible, professional, drinking Xano. Hold up, wait a minute, do I see what I think I will? Did a thing I seen, sure they get low. Ain't the same when it's up that close.
I wish I could fade that out better, but I don't know.
It's okay. By 2013, you'll have got that.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning. So I promise I won't bring up too much dumb events that I just look up on Wikipedia for Designate, but I think it is worth mentioning in some ways, like, because I've heard it talked about when people talk about this period is like, I think we're right now like in the like worst part of like the economic crisis, right? Because I think it started in like 2007, then went to 2008, and I'm seeing here like January 21st. I don't know if that was like the big like stock market whatever meltdown, but like
So
okay,
you're saying this is Flo Rida singing about stock market getting low is what you're saying?
Ah, damn it, people.
I didn't even think of that. Damn, now I feel out of the loop, but I think like I've seen things like talk about how like these big party songs, like I mean they're kind of around, they're obviously around every year, but I feel like I've read things that like try to connect like the kind of like carefree party atmosphere. A lot of these songs with like people just wanted like a break from the stuff, which again I think you could say that about any era, but
The zeitgeist.
Yeah, it does feel like a very club heavy year, like a lot of club dance music. I mean, we've had it before, but I think especially this year, it seems to be pretty pervasive.
Well, I was gonna say, I did leave one thing out, I guess, which would be very relevant to this, which is I didn't like pop music, but when you go to a school dance in high school in 2008, there's no escaping it. So I did like dancing, with girls that I liked, and so a lot of these songs I do have fond memories of, and this one especially. I think this is maybe like one of the most iconic songs of like high school dance era for me.
Yeah, I mean,
this is maybe something David and I don't have in common with you, Max. Well, I think we were attending many high school dances.
Yeah, right. Well, especially this period. Yeah, no, I mean, I think like this was pretty inescapable wherever you went. Like, I mean, and obviously, again, it's the #1 song of the year on the year-end charts. It was the longest one that we're going to talk about, and like, yeah, I mean, it was kind of everywhere, and I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, it's like it's so perfectly made for like high school dances, like it's just like not even college dances, it's like high school dances. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like apple bottom jeans, like
apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur.
Right, like,
come on.
and like Flo Rida. I mean, so I'll just kind of delve into what I think now, which is I've never liked this song.
No,
I don't like, and I think the reason why is I just think Flo Rida is like such a boring like rapper. Like, I don't know what he offers exactly. Like, I guess he kind of can rap fast, and I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean,
I guess he can kind of rap fast. That's sure.
No, but that's his thing. Like,
Sure. I know.
He raps with speed, which not everyone does. But let's see. I mean, so he's him and T-Pain co-wrote it. Okay, so give credit to him as a writer too for this. But like, to me, it's like, what exactly does he offer? I don't know. Like, I think T-Pain's hook is like what everyone remembers.
Definitely.
And everything else is kind of like, okay, whatever, like get to the chorus. Everyone likes the chorus, but I don't know, the song just still is like, I'm not totally sure like what it offers besides just like high school dance music.
Oh, well, what it offers today is the wedding dance floor.
Yes,
when I'm at a wedding, my ass is immediately on the dance floor if this song comes on.
Oh wow.
That was my comment. David and I were both at the same wedding on Saturday. This came on, everybody was dancing to it. It's got staying power.
Oh yeah.
Did it come on? I don't remember.
This is on at some point, because I was thinking, because we were just talking about it, and then this song came on, or I don't know, maybe it was when we were talking about the song for the podcast, but I've realized that for years I've been conflating this song with Get Low.
Yes,
don't think
me
I
too.
can-
Me too. I thought the exact same thing when I was listening to it. I was like, wait, isn't there a part about the
Yeah, I was
window
like, when
and the
is
wall?
Sweat gonna
or
grip
something?
that makes sense to like, it's almost like a more PG rated Get Low.
Yeah, I mean, similar title, like similar big like chorus that everybody knows and like
Yeah.
people dance to, and probably do similar, Get Low moves to at the right point of the song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I like the song. Like, this is probably true with most of the songs on the list, since so many of them are like dance, like it's not the type of song I'm gonna just like kind of sit and listen through if it comes on the shuffle,
Yeah.
which is how I get most of my music these days and how I prepare for the podcast. But like, you gotta grade the song and what it's trying to do, and it's like people still get up and dance to the song if it comes on. So I feel like you gotta give it that.
That's true. That's true. And maybe the fact that I don't remember it being played at Daniel's wedding also just shows that like it doesn't resonate as much with me for some reason. So
Well, now I want to get confirmation of that because I'm worried on it, but I'm pretty confident it did.
maybe
towards the end of the
when
night.
when we hopefully have hopeful future guest Daniel Fletcher on at some point, maybe he can confirm or deny.
I did look at the lyrics for definitely the first time ever, and I gotta complain about Flo Rida rhyming lock with gal was fly just like my Glock. Like, what come on, why is
What?
this the line of this?
Lock and clock.
So the couplet is Shotty did that pop and lock,
Uh-huh.
and he rhymes that with gal was fly just like my Glock. Like, he's just
His
referencing
lock
his
is
gun
fly.
out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Because it
Very
rhymes
clever.
with a lot.
Because it rhymes.
But it's not
That's
even a
gotta
good
be.
rhyme.
That's
It's a
probably
bad
gotta be
rhyme.
one of the most basic rhymes in like in hip
Lock and
hop.
lock, yeah,
Rhyming
that's
lock
fair.
and glock.
That- And plus a Glock locks. So you know what I
And then
mean?
the other half of the other
Like,
side of
that's on
that
purpose.
ABAB structure is rhyming drop with guap. So I had to find out what guap meant. Anyone
I
know
think-
this slang?
I don't-
I've heard the slang. I don't remember what it means.
It sounds like a racial slur, so I won't say it.
Yeah, I was a little nervous. Apparently it's just big wad of cash.
A what?
A wad of cash.
Oh god, we're gonna get canceled. We said that. Um, so we can transition. So that's the biggest hit. But we'll move to a relatively big hit. 3 weeks at #1, March 15th to March 29th. We have Usher featuring Young Jeezy, and it's called Love in This Club.
And nothing that shawty, I got a thing for you, yeah. Doing it on purpose, why you working it? I can tell by the way you looking at me, girl. I wanna make love in this club. Wanna make love in this club, yeah. In this club, I wanna make love in this club. Make love in this club, in this club.
I'm trying to find confirmation because I feel like I've heard. Okay, I think. Yeah. Okay. So this song, the beat was at least partially created through GarageBand. Like this was like a default like synth, you know,
Yeah, it's a
That's
that's
default.
GarageBand.
Okay.
Which at least Wikipedia confirms.
Shout out to Apple.
I feel like it's it's also like a GarageBand. I think probably.
Yeah, I've already given one Apple plug this podcast.
Sponsored by Apple.
I'm recording on an app. I love this. I really like this song. I mean, I think we've had a lot of Usher on this show because he goes way back,
Mhm.
and I generally like Usher songs, his big songs. I mean, the synth beat is it's a great, just like, overriding synth, like, shout out to Apple again. I think I just, Usher's voice, like the way he phrases, like, I just think, it's kind of a timeless thing, which to me, it's like, I think we started talking about in like 97, and like, I think probably there'll be more Usher songs we talk about. So, I'm also like, I don't know, what?
I'm trying to think what Usher's left. But don't
I
know.
think we might have one or two more, but I don't know if either of you saw this, but he did a the Tiny Desk concerts.
Oh, I haven't seen his. I'll check that out.
And there's kind of like this one moment where it kind of became like a meme. He just did like a little like, this just like he did the little like this thing, and it just became like this meme. But the whole thing, the thing is like the whole thing is great. Like he just like sounds like so like it sounds exactly like the record, and he's been doing this for like so long.
For
So
audio listeners, David did the disco move of the two hands and B-sides across the eyes.
he's across the eye thing too. Yeah, I really like the song. I think I remember liking it back when it came out. And yeah, I still do.
This song is like one of many that we're gonna hear where I like the chorus a lot and I enjoy it, and then every other part of the song I find like very forgettable
Mhm.
and not memorable. And I don't know how much of that is just from like what I remember, and if that's just like my true take, but like the rest of it just didn't do much for me. But I did like the chorus a lot, and like, yeah, I mean, I like Usher. I just don't have strong opinions about the song otherwise.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like Usher all that much. I really have never been into R&B, like which this is more poppy than that, but like
That's another recurring thing on this.
Yeah,
Me just
yeah.
complaining about every R&B
It's-
song.
it's-
just because-
What?
Like
and
it's,
liking them a little more and more as they get more hip-hop
Yeah,
influences.
it's mostly white men saying, I'm really big into R&B.
What?
But
True. though.
I mean,
Yeah, I just never got into it that much as a genre. This one, I don't know, the synth, it sounds a little DDR to me, I would say. Not, which I like DDR, but I don't know, not that into it.
was this like the peak of DDR too? That might have been a few years earlier.
I think it was a
it's a
little
year.
earlier, yeah. when
Because
we all
I
had
got a
the-
DDR mat for
Yeah,
Christmas,
we all had the
probably
mat,
like
yeah.
2005, 2006.
This is more like late Guitar Hero era,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, like late.
We're Rock Band coming soon. It's right
Well, actually,
around
yeah,
the
definitely,
corner.
because this
Or-
is like PS3 has come out or about to come out, and I feel like peak DDR is definitely PS2 generation.
Yeah. This is PS3 generation for sure. Well, as we all measure time.
Oh, I should have. Oh, never mind. I was trying to think. I almost said I should have picked an Apple game console to keep my Apple theme going, but that doesn't exist. Oh wait, no, it doesn't. Wikipedia is saying similarities to "No Woman, No Cry" by Bob Marley, and there's like I'm trying to figure like that's like the last song I could ever imagine having.
I mean, unless there's like a
composition
chord thing, but I don't
Yeah.
know what that means.
Oh yeah.
I'm not smart enough with music. All right. April 5th. So our next song, April 5th, it was number one. And then a few weeks later, April 26th, it returns. And then a few weeks after that, it returns. I don't know if we've had one that came up like 3 different times, but
Yeah, I think it's the first.
this might be the first. Is Bleeding Love by Leona Lewis.
Looking round, thinking I'm going crazy. Ooh, but I don't care what they say. I'm in love with you. They try to pull me away, but they don't know the truth. My heart's crippled by the pain that I keep on closing. You cut me open and I keep bleeding, keep bleeding, love. I keep bleeding, I keep bleeding, love.
I feel like Leona Lewis kind of disappeared a little bit after this song, but
That's what I was thinking.
this was a very
Kinda.
big song. I think it was number 2. Yeah, number 2 for the year. Thoughts on Bleeding Love?
I really like this song. I think it's really beautiful. I think I don't know how much of this is me like nitpicking because I listened to this with more of like a critical ear for the podcast. But when I listen to it now, it's like the backing track is just so dull and repetitive, like drum machine with like this weird organ drone, which like of course is trying to put the focus on her voice because that's the whole point of the song. But when I noticed that, that just kind of started to irritate me. It was just so repetitive. I feel like you could do a little more interesting and still not take away from her vocals. But yeah, I just think it's a really pretty song. I think it's funny that we're finally out of the era where the American Idol winner always gets his number one on the tracks on the charts, and now it's the X Factor winner gets her debut single on the chart instead.
Oh,
So
is she X Factor?
Yeah, this is like X Factor.
Hmm.
Like we need to find her lead single after winning X Factor.
Yeah.
All this like weird stuff going through different hands, and then like Simon Cowell hearing this like saying that's the one for Leona Lewis. So similar to a lot of songs we've heard before, but I think a lot better than all of those kind of
Oh, yeah.
throwaway American Idol songs we've heard in the past.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of throwaway American Idol songs. Yeah. Do you know who wrote the song? Well, maybe you do if you've looked it up, but
I forget.
there are two writers of the song.
Oh, I was saying this. Yeah, go ahead.
We have Ryan Tedder, who's written, who has gone on to write a lot of big songs. He was the guy from One Republic, who I don't know, maybe there's a song next year, maybe. The song what's the name of that song with Timbaland? This is gonna bother me. But anyway, they had at least one big song. And I think Blast from 2008 or maybe even earlier, Jesse McCartney. I don't know if you guys remember that name, but
Of course.
he was a co-writer, so
Huh.
which is weird because I don't see the connection or he's not British, but yeah, no, I think I pretty much totally agree with what you're saying. I think it's a really pretty song. I think it's kind of like has that timeless quality, which like is, makes it timeless, but also like maybe that's also why it sounds a little dull, like because it is going for that like mass appeal. There's not a whole lot going on with like the backing track. And I don't know, I think it's also like sometimes when I hear a song like this and like know that like, okay, Leona Lewis hasn't had like quite the success that maybe like, some thought she would with this song. Like it kind of makes me wonder if like, is there like, is it because like her vocals just like it's not as unique or like, she doesn't like stand out for some reason for people. And I don't know. I mean, it's obviously there's a lot of factors, but I think she does kind of have this like timeless, like, this could have been a number one song like any year we've done. Which, is I think a good thing to know and probably works its benefit ultimately.
Yeah, I think it's pretty. I got kind of tired listening to it. Yeah, not for me really, but I could appreciate that it's she has a great voice.
So that's 3 like passing grades for Leona Lewis. That's just enough to like, we appreciate it. Thank you. Like
She got no X's or she did get X's. I don't know how this
you
show
don't
works.
want
I mean,
X's are bad. Okay, so
Yeah.
0 X's.
Oh wait, no, X's are America's Got Talent.
It's not the X-
presumably,
oh, okay,
presumably
I'm
Britain's
rolling.
Got Talent.
wait, X is not X Factor.
The big X where they do the thing is not X Factor. I don't think. Unless they have it too. I don't think I've ever seen X Factor.
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
impossible to tell if the X Factor is a good thing or a bad thing.
Is X Factor like any talent goes, or is it like specifically singing?
I'm pretty sure X Factor is just like American Idol.
Okay, let's see.
But it doesn't have like the crazy Sikh guys that are like doing gymnastics over each other and shit like that.
Yeah, I think it is like singing.
Hmm.
I'm learning new stuff. So
Because the thing I read is the One Republic singer had a rule. The guy who wrote the song had a rule he wouldn't give any music to American Idol winners. But he hadn't heard of X Factor when she gave it to Leona Lewis. So it's like if he knew what X Factor was, the song might not
He
have.
wouldn't.
that's a really weird rule to like have when
Yeah, especially for
finding,
somebody
like,
like not
very,
big enough
like,
to.
Yeah.
very like mass appeal songs in the first place.
Doesn't
Like,
seem
no,
like
I'm not
he would have
gonna
been
give it
big
to
enough to
Pink.
turn down money from
Yeah.
Simon Cowell at this point.
One Republic is, they're DIY, they're big, like, indie cred guys. They don't want to give it to, mainstream TV shows. April 12th to April 19th, we have I think probably the most recurring artist we have on the show. It's
Definitely.
Mariah Carey, and it's Touching My Body.
This is private between you and I. Touch my body, put me on the floor, wrestle me around, play with me some more. Touch my body, put me on the bed. I just wanna make you feel like you never did. Touch my body, let me roll my thighs all around your waist, just a little taste. Touch my body, know you have my curves. Come on, give me what I deserve.
So let's let David start, because Max, you probably don't know, but David is our by far our resident Mariah stan.
Mariah Stan. Oh, okay. Okay.
Mariah
Whew.
Stan.
Phew.
What did you think?
What? Well, I don't know if you're the resident Mariah hater.
I
It
think
would just be a horrible
I
way
don't
to live your life.
I mean, I do think like doing this podcast has made me kind of go back and like reassess. It's like, how is it that she's had so many, because for probably the first like almost 10 years that we did, I think she had at least like one song. And I think
Well, I think you're forgetting how early we started. We had some.
no, I know, but she
It
started.
took a few years.
No, it did not. She
Am I wrong?
started in no 91. She had at least one.
Okay.
Sure, her debut album was 1990.
Okay, my
Came out
fault.
before we were born, which is crazy. But yeah. With that all being said, I think the song kind of sucks. It's boring. It's like I don't know. It's just like it's so light. Like, I mean, I know it's like it's not, it's not supposed to be like some big, like powerful like thing. This is like very light pop music. I like the music video, which starred Jack McBrayer.
I did not know that. I gotta check that out.
It's a pretty great music video. It's a good concept too. It's like he's like a like what do you call it, like Best Buy, like not genius, but what the people like do tech stuff at Best Buy. You know what I mean?
Geek
Like,
Squad.
yeah, Geek Squad. He's like a Geek Squad guy, and he goes up to Mariah's apartment, her man, and like has this like fantasy of like the both of them just like flirting around and like frolicking and like playing games, and like it's pretty funny. And then it's like back to reality, and it's like are you gonna fix my computer? Like, oh, the internet's over there. It's like, and it's Jack McBrayer, and so I love anything Jack McBrayer does. So it's a great music video. But yeah, song wise, like I've defended most of the big hits. I think there's something that stands out, but this one is just like it's just such like a throwaway like light pop hit that it doesn't
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I marked down on my playlist which ones I liked, and I hit like, and I said that I liked this one, and then you played it, and I almost couldn't remember it at all.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very forgettable.
well, right. I mean, and it's worth being like, I think we all at the very I think we all said like we remembered Bleeding Love, right?
Yeah.
But like, I could see like not remembering the song, maybe also because like Mariah Carey's had a lot of hits, but I could see this not being like one that sticks around quite as much in like someone's memory.
I think I like this one a little more than the two of you, but it is another one in my like pattern for the year where I like the hook and chorus, like that works for me, and then everything else is very kind of uninteresting. I do want to quote this review from the New York Daily News,
Please.
which, a rag of a paper, so take that with a grain of
rag.
salt. But it says, a single that could have been cut by anyone hit Diva today has scored a chart grand slam. There's just one small price to pay for all this. the singer's soul.
Okay.
It's very
It's about
intense.
touching her body. Or what?
I think it's just
What? So this is where she sold out? Like, what is
I think the way I interpret it is just like they want Mariah Carey to go off and show off her voice, and she just did this very like cut and dry, like dance pop song, and so that's the giving up on her soul.
Okay, when did all I want for Christmas is you come out?
that was early 90s. That was like mid 90s.
I feel like, I mean,
That's
what
selling
could
her
be the
soul.
more mass appeal song than that?
Right.
Well, a fantastic song, but like, I don't think it's possible to sell out after making a song like that.
I mean, what
Or maybe they mean the Christian soul, and that was like
we only
that was
want
good for the
Christmas
soul.
material for Mariah Carey.
she,
We need
she's like,
Easter song. We need Assumption, Ascension, the Immaculate Conception song.
Hanukkah song.
No, only Christian holidays.
That's fine.
All Saints Day.
I don't want Mariah jumping on a bandwagon. Anyway. Yeah. I end with a yeah. May 3rd. So this starts at May 3rd, then jumps back. I would say maybe the second runner-up or the runner-up for Song of the Summer. There's another one we'll talk about. We have the first #1 song by Lil Wayne. Maybe the only, at least the
I
one
think it is. I
Hang
think
on.
that's the only
I think
one.
it is,
What? The only Lil Wayne?
and it's called Lollipop.
I'ma rap like I got some type respect for myself. I don't
Hold on, that's wrong. Kanye, that's the remix.
Oh, okay.
That's the remix. Kanye's not on the this is the real one.
Yeah. Okay, the mama had a swag like mine. She even wear a hurt on her back like mine. I make her feel right when it's wrong like line. Man, she never had a lose like mine. But man, I ain't never seen a ass like her. That pussy in my mouth had me lost for words. So I told her back it up like burp, burp. And I made that ass jump like jerk, jerk. And that's when she
Cut off right the chorus. I'll mention this. To me, I don't know, maybe this you both or maybe feel the same way, but when I think of like 2008 music, Lil Wayne is like the one that comes to mind for me. And again,
Mhm.
maybe this is like, I was still tuned in enough to like know that, but he was so big. Like, I mean, this was such a breakout year for him. Like, speaking of someone who like, started off very much like, a mixtape rapper, like, very much like, like a critically acclaimed rapper that wasn't really huge and then just like blew up. And yeah, like I feel like, yeah, senior year of high school was like, he was like the inescapable artist from my point of view. And yeah, and this was, I mean, obviously it's a big song. I should stop saying that for every song, but like, with that being said, this is a weird song. Like,
Yes.
it's such a weird song because it's not like, this is not really representative of Lil Wayne. It's got this like it's heavily auto tune. It's almost more of like a R&B song in a lot of ways. I'll mention that I really like this song. I think at the time, like, I liked it. I don't think I loved it, but like, it is just like, it's such a weird song. Like, and hearing it now, I think I appreciate that more. Like, it's just like, it doesn't really sound like anything else. Like, it's like just this weird, like, kind of slow, like R&B groove, but then just like totally like off the, top of his head rhymes and, these weird kind of, noises that he makes that, in between verses that I think became pretty like associated with him. I think Lil Wayne is, really a pretty important artist during this period. And this again, this isn't representative of him in a lot of ways, but it's such a weird song that's like I love that. Like nothing else on the list sounds like this to me.
Yeah, I don't love it as much as you, but I definitely have similar opinions in that it's very kind of refreshing after hearing the other songs on the list. Like the beat is just so much more interesting than most of the other number ones. And I agree with you. It's odd for Lil Wayne because it seems like, remember when we were talking about, I don't know what year it was, but a couple episodes ago, like Crunk and B, which
Well,
I don't know if it was a genre we knew, but it definitely feels like so much more kind of like crunk in the instrumentation and kind of the funky beat compared to what I think of when I think of Lil Wayne. And I would never have guessed this is his biggest song, but I also have no idea what I would have guessed was, because I can't think of any kind
I
of
feel like
huge hits.
he's not like a radio hit kind of guy,
Right.
right?
Or if he is, it's like he's doing a feature on something. that's a
Yeah,
big hit.
right.
I don't know.
I mean, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add that I can't figure out if I like the autotune because Lil Wayne's got such an interesting voice and you kind of lose it when it's auto-tuned here.
I mean, yeah, I think, well, so it's good that you mentioned that because I think like this is again kind of a peak period for auto tune.
Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
We're just coming off Akon's huge album, right?
Akon, T-Pain's everywhere. Like,
Yeah, T-Pain is all over this list.
Oh, T-Pain is man. Yes.
Other artists are using it. Yeah, I mean, I think like to me, again, maybe this is why like at the time I maybe wasn't quite as high on it as I am now, like just because it was everywhere, whereas like, okay, I think a lot of rappers were getting kind of heat for like jumping on like the auto-tune bandwagon and like I mean Jay-Z around this time put out a song called Death of Auto-Tune that like was basically criticizing it, even though like he kind of also used it. But I don't know, I think like to me at least like Lil Wayne's using it in a way that's like kind of like only like accentuates his like weirdness, like I think and plus like I mean you mentioned like the kind of crunk thing. I see what you mean, but I think it's also like crunk is like much like kind of harder and like more immediate, like big beat. Like this is not really that. It's like
Well, that's why I said crunk and beat. That's the
fair
softer side of the crunk movement.
Thank you. Yeah. No, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I also just think, his just general like his voice is, style is just so different than like even the other big rappers of this period, which it's to his credit.
Yeah, I have to apologize, take away my Louisiana cred because I've never been into Lil Wayne. And I think part of it was the time when when all this stuff was coming out, when Lil Wayne was becoming popular, I wasn't into like popular hip hop music at all, and I wasn't really into hip hop music, barely. But like my brother, for example, he's just a few years older than me, and he and his friends were like super into all of it. It just didn't hit me the same way. And yeah, listening to this song, I did not like it. And I think the autotune was very grating to me, especially on this one particular one. I think like it can be used like in a way that's fine. But I didn't like it at all on this one. So this one was a definite, maybe my least favorite of the song so far.
I'm glad. It always makes me happy when we get like very divergent opinions on songs.
Yeah, I'm becoming repetitive, but for me, the only thing I didn't say when I was talking about was it's another one for me where the chorus I find so memorable and everything else I don't need. It's just
well, it's like it seems like there's nothing. I don't know. But I was gonna ask about T-Pain. This seems like the peak T-Pain year. But it adds the question to me, when did I'm on a Boat come out? Because that was kind of the signaling the end of T-Pain. It was like he's so big, he's in this huge parody of himself, basically, and then he kind of became a joke for a while.
I just looked it up, really beginning of 2009.
Ah, okay.
Oh, yeah,
So the
February
post, so
2009.
this is the golden age of T-Pain before people are tired of it and making fun of him.
Yeah, it
Right.
was a short cycle because
Yeah.
T-Pain was, well, Buy You Drake was last year,
Yeah, we talked about that.
but that was his second album, I think. So his first album, year or two before
Yeah,
that.
I mean, that was, I think, probably the peak in terms of, but you know, he's all over. Like, I don't know if he's on other songs on the '1 list, but like, if you look at the top 100, he's
The
kind
top
of,
100, he's all over, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'd be interesting to see in 2009 if he appears again. I'll have to look that up. All right, May 24th, only 1 week. And #1, we have "Take a Bow" by Rihanna.
And don't tell me you're sorry, cause you're not. And baby, when I know you're only sorry you got caught. But you put on quite a show, really had me going. But now it's time to go. Curtains finally closing.
Well, quick cutoff from you, Dave.
Yeah.
I try to do it on the beat at least.
I like this song a lot more than I expected to. Because I feel like, well, everything Rihanna was played a ton around this time, but I didn't have any strong memories of it. And then when I heard it for this, I was like, it's a really pretty song. It's like, it kind of bucks the trend of, like, I feel the backing track is a little more interesting than most of the kind of ballads we're hearing around now. Like, it's nothing crazy, but it's at least got a moving piano line and, you know, a little bit of kind of dynamic changes that a lot of the other songs are missing. I liked it, you know. I'm not in love with it, but I think it's just a pretty song. I'm a sucker for a ballad and kind of, you know, when they stand out from a lot of like R&B and hip hop and things that don't have like the vocal features as much. And I enjoyed it. I think "You Look So Dumb Right Now" is such a great line to open a song with. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, speaking of someone else who's everywhere on this chart, and we will hear from Rihanna again a few times. It's interesting because it's like, you know, it's really interesting to me to like compare like these early Rihanna songs to like what she's put out, you know, in more recent years. Like, because I think she's gone like kind of like on a way more like kind of gritty route. I mean, her last album was, you know, 5-6 years ago, but like, you know, like very kind of like, you know, like the song "Work" is like very kind of weird and like, you know, very like almost like reggae influence, like a lot of like patois stuff going on. And this is like such a, you know, classic sounding kind of ballad song. Yeah, no, it's a pretty song. I mean, co-written by Neo, who I think we've talked about.
He's had a lot of random writing credits.
Yeah, he's
songs
done
it
a
was
lot. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, it doesn't stand out that much for me. She has a few other ballads during this time. Like, to me, like her ballads have always, to me at least, not stood as much out as like her, you know, poppier like songs.
Yeah, totally.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, listening to this music from this year, I was like, #1, I really like Rihanna, and #2, I'm really surprised that this was one of the ones that was the #1, because I didn't remember this song at all, and I was like, it's fine, and Rihanna's great, but I don't know, like the other songs in this list I thought were way better.
yeah, I mean, it's almost like doesn't stand out, but like it almost seems like it's not supposed to like stand out as much.
Yeah, I don't claim to understand the single release strategy. Maybe you got to put a ballad on there and it'll hit the R&B radio.
So
There are ballads like, and
Do
especially
well.
ballads from people you don't think so much as being ballad singers. Like they literally since '91, they'll always pop up. There's always been a desire to have, you know, at least a little ballad representation on the #1 list. Like,
I'm kind of like looking at her single discography, and it's kind of interesting. Like, she doesn't really, well, actually, that's not totally true. I was gonna say she doesn't really have a big ballad for like years after this, but that's arguable. Yeah, And also this was like a re-release of her previous album, which is the one that had like Umbrella and like
Yeah.
like other, Don't Stop the Music, like these bigger songs that maybe it was almost like this is like a B-side type thing that just so happened to like become number one. June 28th, I thought it'd be more, but only 1 week at number one is I think the first song by Coldplay we talked about, and it's called Viva La Vida.
Feel the fear in my enemy's eyes. Listen as the crowd would sing. Now the old king is dead, long live the king. 1 minute I held the key. Next the walls were closed on me, and I discovered that my castle stand upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand. I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing.
Thoughts on Viva La Vida?
Well, I feel like it was very cool at this time to hate on Coldplay. They were they were kind of a punchline band, but I gotta say I did like this song, and I didn't really want to coming back to it, but I really did enjoy it. This is kind of closer to the kind of music that I liked around then, and I think at the time I did kind of like it, and I was like, okay, this is an interesting kind of thing to hear on the radio. And I really like how full the sound is. Like I don't know if this is the right term, but like the wall of sound kind of thing. Like I mean that swell, like right into that that right where we cut off. I don't know, I liked it.
I think I'm in the same boat. I mean, with that said, I think I mean, I don't know what my relationship with Coldplay is exactly, but like when this album came out, I remember being like, oh, these are good songs. Like not even like I love like, I'm gonna listen to these songs all the time, but I was like, it's kind of like I was like, oh, I gotta admit, these are really good songs. Like, really good job. And I think in a weird way, like this might have been slightly influenced by the fact that like I started to kind of pay attention to like critical reviews of stuff, for the first time. Like I probably just started to like read like Pitchfork stuff.
Learn what Pitchfork is. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
and, like-
remember Pitchfork liked this.
Yeah,
Yes, I do kind of remember that. I was never that into Pitchfork, but for some reason that sticks out to me.
yeah. Like I so like I feel like they were getting like more critical acclaim for this like album, and the singles I liked, and the song was kind of everywhere, and it is still like you hear this in like malls, you hear this in like CVS's, but it's a really good song. I mean, I just feel like removing all that stuff, it's just like I completely agree. I think the production's really great, just like the bells, the like orchestration. It's just like this is a really pretty song. Like there's not much to hate, like to try and hate. This album actually was co-produced by Brian Eno, which
Hell yeah.
then which maybe also gave them some like new cred that they didn't have before.
That's why the production's so good.
Yeah, there you go. The guy who produced Bowie and Talking Heads, the Coldplay got him. So
Yeah, I mostly agree with you guys. I think in my notes I wrote that it sounds a lot like Clocks but worse, but
okay.
I don't know. When I heard it this time, I thought less of that, and I didn't actually re-listen to Clocks, so maybe I'm just totally wrong. But I do think, I don't know, maybe it's just more like that was just an urge to say all Coldplay songs sound the same, because I feel like a lot of them do. But yeah, David mentioned what I was going to say, which is that specifically for this song, Brian Eno is credited as creating sonic landscape. So that's the like wall of sound that Max is hearing, and it's definitely there. It is like
that's what I meant,
refreshing.
sonic landscape.
It's very refreshing to hear this like sweeping orchestration that's missing from anything else like in the number ones. Also of note, there are 3 separate plagiarism allegations with the song, including one by Yusuf Islam, aka Cat Stevens. And I guess that was like a topic of conversation because Wikipedia also talks about like there's a music professor who did an analysis, and it said all 3 songs comes from like the 1700s Italian orchestra song, and it's like, there's like some odd
But
kind of familiar melody going on here.
that almost seems like so obvious that like, of course, like, you know, these like classic like melody, like,
Yeah.
it almost seems like
That's-
like I would be surprised if it wasn't, like, in a lot of ways, but I feel like that probably doesn't diminish it. Like, it's not like they like stole some new like other song from the same, I don't know, you know. It's I didn't know that about the plagiarism allegations. So now we move on. I think this is the real song of the summer. We've talked about all these other ones. This is July 5th to August 16th. 7 weeks in a row. I'm surprised it was that long. I thought Viva La Vida would be that long, but maybe it shows what I know. First song from Katy Perry we've talked about.
Yeah.
I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry.
I kissed a girl and I liked it. The taste of her cherry chapstick. I kissed a girl just to try it. I hope my boyfriend don't mind it. It felt so wrong, it felt so right. Don't mean I'm in love tonight. I kissed a girl and I liked it. I liked it.
The first single, I think hit single from Katy Perry.
Debut single.
Was it the debut one?
Debut. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
It's certainly the first one I ever heard by her.
Yeah, certainly her breakout. Although she did release a gospel album before this when she was 16
Mhm.
under the stage name, her real name, Kate Hudson. Kate Hudson. Then she changed it. There's another Kate Hudson.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Well, I'll say I think this is a
You
great
go
song.
first.
I really like this song. I just think the beat, like it just rocks so hard, and it's got some interesting dynamic changes that's I feel like missing throughout the year. I don't know. I mean, like obviously it's like a little frivolous, but I just think it goes hard. It's like makes you want to dance, like very sing-alongable.
Mhm.
My comments are more just kind of about when it came out. Like I feel like this felt so scandalous when it came out
Yes.
for some reason.
Yeah.
And then when I like realized for this that it was in 2008, I'm like, why? Like, it,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
I don't know.
times
Like,
changed very quickly.
yeah,
I
it's-
think, you know.
but like we'd already had like,
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Madonna, Kid, like,
Was it scandalous? I don't really remember.
I
being-
mean, like,
that's the impression I got as like a high school kid hearing it. I don't know what like the narrative was, like what if people were talking about it, but to me it felt very scandalous. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I think people were very
surprised,
not comfortable with like fluid sexuality and stuff at this time.
but still a number one for a long time. So how?
Yeah, well, no, I mean it, but well, okay, I like the song. I like the song. I don't want to get too deep into 2008 sexuality. I liked it. I think I didn't like it as much as the other one, which we'll talk about later. But I was gonna say with both of these songs, it really struck me coming back to them. Katy Perry lyrics in this album are like kind of misogynistic. This one is like very hetero, like it's a little
Yeah.
homophobic.
It got criticism for both
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, so the interesting thing to me, so Katy Perry's is kind of interesting to me because I think like, so one thing I think is worth mentioning is, so she kind of started off like she was on like Warped Tour, you know, she was like very much like part of, like the like pop punk scene.
That makes sense because I was kind of surprised listening to both of these for the first time in a while, how much they rock. How
Yeah, and it's very like, this is a very
heavy
like
guitar and stuff.
pop rock, like, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, there's another song that, well, I'll have to say, like, this could be a Pink song, like, at least just the orchestration.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, like, very much like of like the Pink, like maybe like Kelly Clarkson type, you know, like
Yeah.
rock,
And-
light pop songs.
And I guess it's not until like California Girls that she's more like
straight pop.
totally poppy. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think you're like it definitely it stands apart from like those songs. Like, not to say it's better or worse, but like it definitely is like it feels a little different, and so it's kind of, yeah, something I think that would be like this is a great karaoke song. Like, it's just catchy, but there's a rock beat, like there's those kind of just fake sounding guitars. Like,
Mhm.
I think that in retrospect, there's a lot of like, things to possibly criticize about its,
Sure.
lyrics, and
Mhm.
just kind of, like, I mean, what's the word? Like,
Like
I mean, it's
fetishizing
appropriation, but it's like,
yeah.
like,
Was like kind of fetishizing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the word. It's fetishizing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it was very provocative, I'd say, at the time. Well, people talked about it.
And
And
very
in a positive,
successfully
positive
for,
way, I think. Like, I had
Yeah.
some very good conversations as a result of hearing this song. For
Yeah,
and it kind of
but
made me
also just a really
uncomfortable.
smart marketing move for somebody's
Yeah.
first single. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
talked
Yeah.
about so much. A couple random facts that I found while looking the song up. It was offered to Macy Gray first, which seems unbelievable to me.
Wow.
Like,
Oh.
can you imagine Macy Gray during the song? I can't even begin to think about what it would
Well,
sound like.
So she co-wrote the song. Did she then offer it to other
What
people?
I read was it was offered to her. I don't see her as a songwriter.
I think it says, it was, I think it was probably Dr. Luke probably wrote most of it, and then maybe she made change. I don't know, like that's a common thing, but yeah, maybe like the producer offered it to someone else.
And the other fact, which I had never heard before, was that Miley Cyrus claims it's about her.
Wasn't she like 15 at this time? That'd be a little.
Which seems odd if it's written by Dr. Luke. I don't know.
That's, if I'm Miley, I don't know if I would like owning up to that if I'm Miley Cyrus, unless she's trying to like accuse her of something. I don't know, or accuse Dr. Luke, which is possible because he's had his own legal issues, which
Oh, the Kesha stuff, that was him.
yeah, the Kesha stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of legal issues, we have a song written by Chris Brown up next. Disturbia by Rihanna.
Oh,
Close
okay.
for comfort. Put on your pretty lights. You're in the city of wonder. Ain't gon' play nice. Watch out, you might just go under. Better think twice. The train of thought will be altered. So if you must pause to be right, your mind can disturb you. It's like the darkness is light. Disturb you. Am I scaring you now? Disturb you.
That's Rihanna's second song of the year. This was August 23rd to August 30th, 2 weeks. It was, yes, co-written by Chris Brown. I mean, so this to me, it's like, this is kind of that classic like Rihanna sound, like obviously a lot
Mhm.
more upbeat than Take a Bow. I think it's a good pop song. I mean,
Mhm.
I think my favorite part is the bum bum beat bum, like
Yeah.
that, like, to me that sets it apart a little bit. I think the chorus is really good. I think the verses are like fine. It's a really solid song. I think more memorable than Take a Bow for, I think, obvious reasons, but gotta give credit to Chris Brown.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll add is that something I noticed for the first time listening for this was that bum bum beat 'em part that you talked about, it's in the lead vocal line, but then there are other parts where that's like layers on as just part of the background track, which I think is pretty cool. Like, it's just, it kind of fits in with the instrumentation while she's singing a different verse that, doesn't have it in that, and it works in the background too. Cool little touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fun. I like Rihanna this year, especially. I'd say it's even better than the Shia LaBeouf psychological thriller from the previous year, which will forever be linked to this song for me because I saw that movie in theaters. And then I was like, what, wasn't that just the name of the movie?
I remember being confused and
Yeah.
not having seen the movie, but like, wasn't that just a movie? And then-
So there's no, is there any, I mean, besides maybe just like being influenced title, what, like, is there no connection between the two?
You don't think Chris Brown and Rihanna saw this movie
I'm
with
sure.
Shia LaBeouf and they were like, I got it. Our next
probably.
single.
I mean, I feel like, and you know, it's going for like a very like, you know, spooky feel, like, so
Mhm, mhm.
It is a good name.
Hitchcockian.
sure, yeah. Like this is, you know, Rihanna's going dark during this period. So it's like kind of like fits that, you know, her image at the time. September 6th to September 20th, and then comes back. Oh, this
Two more
comes
times.
twice
Yes.
again. Okay. October 4th, October 11th, and then November 1st, November 8th. That's a weird year. Just songs going back and forth.
Well, it's not even the last one that had 3 separate
I,
appearances.
I know. We have T.I. with Whatever You Like.
Baby, you can go wherever you like. I said you can go wherever you like. Yeah. Anytime you want to, pick up the telephone. You know it ain't nothing to drop a couple stacks on you. Want it, you can get it, my dear. $5 million home drop business, I swear. Yeah, I want your body, need your body. Long as you got me, you won't need nobody.
So T.I. appears a few times on this list. This is a big year for T.I. I'll mention that I think 2006, my number one song of the year was a T.I. song, What You Know. And to me, like, I think when this came out, I liked these songs. I like these T.I. songs that were like really big and everywhere. I think now I don't. I don't really like when T.I. makes these like pop songs. I like when he's, you know, grittier and, you know, more just straight rap and like Southern rap, you know, Atlanta rap. You know, this is a very catchy song, but I feel like it's just like very disposable.
Yeah, I'm being annoyingly repetitive, but I feel like this is the best case in point of catchy chorus, just really uninteresting verses. Like the part we just heard is just like da da da. It's just like so like
Yep.
on the beat, every word he says,
Mhm.
like no change in tempo, no change in dynamics, and then get to the chorus, people sing along, have fun dancing, and then back to another boring verse.
Mhm. But really good chorus.
Good chorus,
So
I
I
agree.
like this one. This one is on my plus list,
Mhm.
I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a good chorus.
September 27th, only 1 week at number one. We have the return of Pink, who we've talked about a few times. It's called So What?
Check my flow. The waiter just took my table and gave it to Jessica Sims. I guess I'll go sit with Drum Boy. At least we'll know how to hit.
There's a lot of really standout lyrics in that song.
What a weird song.
It's
Because I wrote in the chat, like listening to that it was like the same, what I call the DDR sound in the background. And then
Yeah,
I
I think I know what you mean.
forgot immediately it turns into like this Irish folk song thing or whatever.
is it just like, is it like the blaring synths of like, you know, like, you know, like it could almost be like remixed into like a club song.
Uh-huh.
But then yeah, it's like the Irish like drinking verses.
Yeah. Oh, very odd. I don't know. So I don't know what you guys think about Pink. I'll say I think I never liked Pink and I never really understood the appeal. As like somebody that was into, you know, rock music, that's what I considered that I liked. And Pink was kind of like the pop rock Queen, and I just never got it. I always thought she was really corny, which I think she is still.
Yeah. We must have talked about it. Pink, I mean, she's had multiple number ones. I think we definitely talked about her, like, but yeah, I mean, I think she's kind of like Usher, like, kind of has always been like pretty consistently around, for years and years. And yeah, I mean, that's why, like, I mean, when we talked about I Kiss a Girl, it's like, to me, like, that sounds like it could be a Pink song. Like,
Yes,
it's like
yes.
that's a sound that like she had established for like, years by this point. Yeah, I mean, I think the best part about the song is some of the like kind of lyrics are just kind of funny and like ridiculous,
Mhm.
like the opening lyric about like breaking up with her husband and like, having fights and stuff. Like, I don't know, it catches your attention. Yeah, I mean, in terms of Pink, I would say like there are songs I like more than others. There's a few songs I like kind of years back I liked a lot. I feel like she was very like very consciously going for like, I'm gonna be like, yeah, like the kind of pop rock person with like an
Yeah.
emphasis on rock, like,
Yeah.
and I think she does that like really well, like, super catchy. I mean, this is a really catchy song. Like, it's literally just like people like screaming the chorus like in a stadium. But it's also kind of a silly song. I mean, like the Irish, like, pretty silly. Like,
The points
I don't
for like ridiculousness.
yeah, I mean, and look, I mean, she was probably going for that, so
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, so to me, like, it's not one of her best songs that, of the big hits, to me at least, but it's certainly catchy like so many of other songs.
I agree. I like Pink. I think I liked her at the time, but I also remember confusing her a lot with Gwen Stefani, and I don't really know why. I guess they like
They both
I get
had
it.
short hair.
yeah, it was,
But they were both going for like a pop rock, like,
yeah, they did kind of like try to go a little harder than the top of the time, and like a little bit of a punky vibe, even if
Yeah.
it wasn't always in the songs.
well, like No
Um,
Doubt, like, that's
yeah.
like the epitome of like pop.
Yeah, and I think Susan's gotten me to appreciate Pink more since then, and I do like the song. But yeah, I agree, not my favorite Pink, but anything that kind of stands out for me, I always enjoy on these lists, and this is definitely one that does that.
My favorite song that we listened to in the past was the song Don't Let Me Get Me from like early 2000.
I
That's
don't
like
remember this.
more straight pop, but she kind of started off like more R&B actually, but then she's gone like really like I'm rock, like,
She's
I-
a rock star. She said so. In this
I
song.
know. Literally
She's got
said-
she has her rock boots.
Jessica Simpson was such a punching bag
Starts-
on this side. I
starts
feel
fight-
bad.
she riffed on her like multiple times in multiple songs, I'm pretty sure.
And I feel like other people
she
did
was
too.
very like, no,
It's like
you
that
know
was
what?
the go-to.
This was, oh, she like, yeah, she definitely like went out of her way to be like, I am not Britney Spears, I am not Jessica Simpson, like I'm
Yeah.
not a pop star, like I'm a rock
I'm
star.
a
Like,
rock star.
yeah. Speaking of Britney Spears,
Hmm.
oh wait, no, just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
Not yet.
How do
not-
yourself.
not quite. Hold on. I gotta have
Bad segue.
speaking of TI again.
You should have just
Yeah.
rolled with it. Nobody fact checked the dates.
No one know. TI returns featuring Rihanna
Featuring.
with Live Your Life.
Let me see, they're gonna go far, 'cause everyone knows who you are. So live your life. You steady chasing that big bar, just live your life. Ain't got no time for no haters, just live your life. Don't tell them where it'll take ya, just live your life. Cause I'm a paper chaser, just living my life. My life.
I mean, we're only hearing Rihanna there, but We
Well,
don't-
yeah, I was gonna say, I thought this was a Rihanna song.
I think
you
I
wouldn't
did
be
too.
like wrong to think
Before
that
this,
because
yeah.
I mean, this to me is like low in that the chorus is so much more memorable than the verses.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think, this is more a Rihanna featuring Ti song in my mind.
yeah.
And I think, yeah, when this song came out, I really did I like the song a lot just because it's oh, I'm getting feedback. Yeah, like I mean, I really like the song. It's the chorus is just it's a huge chorus.
Oh, yeah.
It's so big. And that's kind of it for me. Like it's just like the chorus and the lyrics are so just like, like cliche, like, inspirational stuff that Ti did during this time that I don't really like anymore. It's worth mentioning in his opening verse, he had a little intro. You already know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Something
That
else.
he dedicates the song basically to all my soldiers over there in Iraq.
Very interesting choice in 2008.
2008. Yeah,
Right.
2008.
Sure.
Not exactly. He's still going hard for
I mean to be
well, maybe he supports our troops.
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't mean
they
he
were still
supports the
over
war.
there. They
Yeah.
were still over there. That this wasn't like, it's not like it was post, like just that they'd been over there for like 5 years by then. But
Maybe he had like written it a few years ago and he just never gotten around to recording it.
it's possible.
Well, my pushback to that would be the Numa Numa song sample.
Yeah,
but-
okay, yeah, that's what we gotta talk about.
Okay,
right?
go
Which-
for it.
I feel like at the time I kind of dismissed that song as too gimmicky because of that. And now it's like my favorite part of the song. I feel like
Yeah.
using the auto-tune vocals and that melody works so well in this song, and I really like it. And then I hate everything, all the GI parts I really don't like. But that is, I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife, Sam, humble brag, about this, and she was like, was this like the first song that was like sampling a meme song? Like what could be called an internet meme before the song was popular? I'm not sure.
I feel like it is.
Like where I
mean-
felt like I knew the song as
Are
like
there
a
others,
joke
though?
song.
It's you. So I don't want to. It's worth mentioning that this is the first time I've heard of this, but that the Numa Numa song itself was based on a real song by a Moldovan pop group.
Yeah. The viral video is just a guy lip syncing to
Yeah.
Numa Numa.
Okay, so it was very
Yeah, yeah.
consciously like we're taking this from the meme to like just so you all
I-
know
yeah.
this is from a
I think it
popular
must have
meme at the time.
It's like one of the first YouTube viral videos of all time.
It's nuts. And I to be honest, I'd completely forgotten about like that element of the song. Like, oh yeah, that's where that's from. Okay. Which man, like I give them credit for doing that. I don't know. I like with so many of these songs, it's like I like the chorus, but the main guy is like pretty boring.
Yeah.
Oh,
but also
That's
turning
like pop
Numa
music,
Numa,
isn't
That is pop music.
it?
but like turning that Numa Numa like melody and then like rolling that into like that anthemic chorus, a pretty inspired
Yeah.
choice.
Yes, yeah.
Is it worth mentioning that this was the #1 song when Barack Obama was elected?
Of course it is.
There you go.
They
So-
couldn't let it be womanizer, so
Yeah,
they
They should have had that. They should
Pulled
have had
some
the Numa
strings.
Numa guy like perform it like the inauguration or the celebration.
well, I don't know. Well, maybe this is a good time to interject about, because this is immediately what I thought when you guys told me we were gonna do 2008. I was like, what was going on in 2008? I was like, whoa, that was the year Barack Obama got elected. So that was like huge, culturally, obviously, going on. And I was disappointed to see that a certain song that I found very memorable from that year did not make the top 100, which was a Barack Obama
Yeah.
related song. Do you
Right.
guys know what I'm talking about?
Is it the Young Jeezy song?
Yes,
Yeah.
right? My president is black.
My Lambo's blue.
And I'll be goddamned if my rims ain't too.
That's good.
Uh,
Come on.
That's like the only
was-
song that I'm 100% sure came out in 2008.
You're not right. Although I wonder if he actually made it before he was
He
elected.
did. I looked this up.
Okay.
So I did. This is the research I did for this
Very good.
episode.
Very good.
I did listen to this song and I was like, oh, pretty good. He actually released it after Obama won the Democratic nomination, which I'm like, whoa,
Wow.
really seems like you're jinxing it, bro.
He was like, he's actually like a brilliant like political. He's like look, look, good. George W. Bush is so unpopular that McCain is gonna,
yeah, well,
get
and
a
his
lot of
whole-
that, and we don't
In a
need
parallel universe, he becomes Nate Silver.
Young Jeezy runs 538 or whatever. It's really funny. So I mentioned it briefly, but we have October 25th. Oh, and Live Your Life 3 separate times at #1, which again, TI. October 25th, only 1 week at #1 was Womanizer by Britney Spears.
You got me going. You're oh so charming, but I can't do it. You womanizer. Boy, don't try to front. No, just let you out. Boy, don't try to front. No, just let you out.
So this was what I remember is this was a bit of a comeback single for Britney Spears, like post like all of her personal stuff. Like, so this was like, there's so much build up to this. To me, it's like, it's catchy, but it's also like, it's so lifeless to me. Like, there's just so little, like, it's such a lifeless song. Like, it's so produced. I mean, the production's good, like, it's hits, but it almost feels like, again, this could be a song by like anyone. Like, it doesn't feel like a Britney song, like some of the older ones that everyone loves. So
yeah, I didn't remember this song. Coming back to it, I was like, oh, Womanizer, Britney Spears, not interesting. I liked it fine. I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, again, but then I was even like looking over the list earlier today and I was like, how did that go? And I was like, it's like Womanizer, something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really a Britney expert at all. Shout out Kentwood, Louisiana.
there you go.
But yeah, but I couldn't remember this one, so I didn't think it was that memorable, but I enjoyed listening to it.
Well,
Yeah, I liked it more than I expected. Yeah, I don't know. I think I really like the beat because it has this like, it's so driving. Like I don't know. I kept like thinking, oh, it's speeding up, but it's kind of just an illusion, I think, with how like driving the bass line is, and it just kind of makes it feel like more up tempo than actually is. I don't know. It's interesting you talk about like the repetitive lyrics because I'm just like reading about it, and it's like there's like this big like debate between critics on like, does that make it a bad song or not? I don't know. This is kind of a random line, but I thought it was interesting. It's like the song has been called, he said, what does he say? He says it's been called lazy largely by misinformed people who also think that Kylie's la la la's would have been better with proper words. So he's like, no, that's the
that's a weird thing to compare it to them. Oh, Will's
Oh no, we have a frozen Will.
come back.
He's got a
to just be
scary
like,
expression,
I
too.
don't know. It's weird. Like,
You're gonna have to
can you hear me now?
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, your back connection.
Slowly turning off Wi-Fi on various devices to try to make this go smoother in my end. Yeah, I liked it more than I expected, but Agree. Not Britney's best.
You know what? I actually the one I realized I think the one element I do like is I like the way her like phrasing in the verses. Like there's a moment she's like "Daddy O" and like kind of singing it like a swing song almost. I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of fun. I do like that part. It's produced by a group production team called the Outsiders, and when I looked them up, basically their only hit, they did a song for Cobra Starship that kind of the title looks a little familiar, but they basically produced like it shows like 4 songs they produced between the years 2008 and 2009, then like nothing. So very limited success.
So I'm not seeing this appearing in a DDR game, but a cover of the song did appear on Just
Adding in a
Dance in
DDR
2009. So Just Dance, the DDR spiritual successor.
Yeah.
But Just Dance had like a lot of just pop song. There wasn't as much of like
I don't think I ever played Just Dance.
I feel like DDR was more like you would have a lot of like techno music and like Japanese music you'd never be exposed to otherwise.
Yeah,
Wow, it's a pretty wild track list. It's got a remix of A Little Less Conversation by Elvis. It's got
Oh, that's
Dare by
fine.
Gorillaz. It's got Heart of Glass. It's got I Get Around by the Beach Boys. Real
Nice,
eclectic soundtrack.
nice.
this is Just Dance.
This is the first Just Dance in
I-
2009.
Yeah, I don't even really remember that game. I mean, I remember DDR, but maybe Just Dance maybe I should have been.
It was like a Connect or Wii game.
Yeah, it's
right?
like it's like so they're
Yeah.
actually the
Yeah.
arms mean something unlike DDR.
You're right, and probably like because they realized with DDR, it's like, well, what if we got like actual popular songs and
Mhm.
probably could find some success that way. So then the last song that we wrap up 2008, so December 13th, and then it goes away. T.I. featuring Rihanna comes back, and then December 27th, we have "Single Ladies" by Beyonce.
I got gloss on my lips, a man on my hips, get me tighter than my dairy on jeans. Acting up, drinking my cup, I can care less what you think. I need no permission, did I mention? Don't pay him any attention.
It's worth mentioning right off the bat, not only did you both, show off, you did you showed your rings, but if I caught it correctly, you were doing the dance move from the video. Which is
Should have been in Just Dance. You get it. Definitely.
oh, is that right? Did you have
No, I
to?
said it should have been.
Holding a Wiimote.
So my first thought of this song is the music video.
Oh yeah, I mean
That's
this
fine.
was like
I mean,
this was like the viral video, and this was like when I guess like YouTube reaction videos and parodies were first becoming like
Oh, yeah.
very mainstream, and this was like everywhere. People dressing because it is a weird music video, right? Like
Right.
they're in like leotards or something.
Yeah, like
Black and white.
which doesn't like fit
leotards.
the lyrics at all.
but it's
Was there an SNL parody
Yeah.
of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
it's a very I think it's funny. It's very silly, but it's
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, she was in it. It was her, Andy Samberg, and Justin Timberlake, and they were playing like the dancers, maybe someone else, and I think Paul Rudd was like the director. Like it was very silly, like Lil Leon,
Yeah.
like, silly, but I like Lil Leon. So
Biggest music video since when?
What?
Like the only thing I can think of is like
Since
Toxic
then,
was Toxic. No, what was the business? This was the biggest music video since when?
before this, what was the
Yeah.
like
Toxic
what
was
do
pretty
we
big,
think?
but I don't think it was as big. And
Which
then I
one's
can't think of
Toxic?
anything at
Is
all.
Toxic on the plane?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I can't think of anything at all except for like going back to like Michael Jackson.
I mean,
Well, obviously those are enormous,
I mean, you like
Right.
but
like Baby One More Time, but these are way back. Like, yeah, no, but yeah, like I think the music video is what like it still like is what I think a lot of people think, and
oh yeah. Well, in fact, to the extent that I was like listening to the song again, it felt like, oh wait, yeah, this is how the song actually goes.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
'cause I just think of the music video and I don't even like think about listening to it.
Because I feel like music videos were even, I feel like already by 2008 they were kind of dying out as a thing. People were like
Kind of,
talking
well,
about it.
MTV was, you know,
Like
a
fewer
thing of
people
the
were just like
past.
watching whatever it's called where they
Oh.
just show all the music videos.
So it's worth mentioning too that I mean, one of the other things I associate this with is, and speaking of MTV, the MTV Awards, I think for me, like video of the year, one of the biggest awards, this lost out to
What?
Wow.
Yes, it lost out to a Taylor's either Love Story or You Belong to Me, one of the Taylor Swift songs. And
Wait,
this
is
is what?
wait, is that when Kanye went
Yep.
up?
That's
Oh
what-
wait, okay, wait, you know what?
Oh,
Reverse
okay.
everything I ever said about that, he was completely right.
Well, no, he was. You absolutely was right about who won. But that was, that was what probably the biggest, like, at the time, like Kanye, like controversy.
Oh
for-
yeah. Obama even said something about it.
Yeah,
You know what
no,
Obama should have said? Obama was like, he was totally right. Beyonce should have gotten.
He
She made
called
one of
him
the
an
best music
asshole.
videos of all time.
he called him an asshole, which, like,
Yeah.
I mean,
You mean when you take that and you
Crazy.
combine it with like George
Which is-
Bush doesn't care about black people,
Uh-huh.
maybe if we just given credit for having Kanye for having
Yes.
good opinions at the time, none of this would have happened.
Yes,
I
this
know.
was exactly the turning point for Kanye when president. Well, I mean, come on, no, this is serious though. This is serious. though.
oh, so you think he turned on the Democratic Party after this?
Yes, I think if the first black president, the Democratic Party, himself is calling you an asshole,
Wow.
right? Like, I think like if you're psychologically, sensitive, right?
might be.
Like that could be like if like I think and Kanye is like somewhat insecure, right? I think that really did turn
Somewhat.
him off. I think that really did like deeply affect him.
You might be right on the, like, you might have nailed it, because
And this all could have been
Obama's also
avoided.
they're both Chicago, like,
Yes, exactly.
like, it's all about like someone who would mean something, like saying that.
Mhm.
I will bring up Kanye again in this, but like, this period of Kanye, it's like, look, like he was making great music.
Yeah.
Even the controversies was like, ultimately he was right. Should he have done that? No, but like,
Yeah,
who cares?
all of this could have been
But-
avoided if they just correctly gave
Uh,
the award to Beyonce.
I know. And then, Taylor Swift gets all this like love that she
Yeah.
they didn't even really need.
Or if liberals just all agreed that George Bush didn't care about black
But we do agree.
right, but he got so much backlash from that, even from
Yeah.
Democrats.
Well, that was George Bush. Okay,
Well,
but no more political
was-
commentary from me.
Yeah. So with the song itself, I really like the song.
Great. Oh my God, fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh.
I liked it when it came out. I think it's kind of a weird song. Like, I think, the kind of the beat, the like, I don't even know what you call it, like the weird synth, like the like, it's kind of a weird, and it's almost like a,
They called that an ascending whistle tune.
sure, yeah, that sounds right. It almost sounds like the verse to me almost sounds like a nursery rhyme type thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like a kid's song.
Yeah, it's a very weird, like lyrically is very strange.
Yeah, like it's just
Yeah,
like,
it's just like falling. It's just getting lower and lower.
but it's kind of a weird song. I don't know. And I don't like, she didn't really make these types of songs. Like, it kind of stands out in that way. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't think it's her best song by any measure, but like, and I think the music video should get like, it's classic enough that like, it deserves to get like the first, that's the first thing that people think of. But I think the song itself is really good. I really like the song.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like you nailed it. I agree with everything you said. Really cool, funky beat with Wikipedia describes as hand claps, ascending whistle we talked about, and then it says Morse code beats. And I listened like 3 times trying to pick out anything that sounded like Morse code, and I could not. But regardless, I always like it when things have instrumentation that you've never seen in other songs.
Yeah.
I also have in my notes that I love the bridge and I think it makes the song, but now I can't think what the bridge is, so I need to re-listen.
You said the bridge?
Yeah,
Oh, I like the bridge a lot. It's, well, I'm not gonna like, it's sort of like, don't get into the thing of the world. I'm not that kind of girl. Like,
oh, that's right, because she
Oh, yeah,
starts
yeah.
with like, she's like almost growling when she says don't, and then it kind of just
kinda
like
like,
a
you know,
whisper towards the end, which is cool.
yeah, I do like that. It's a very good bridge.
And I saw a quote that says she thinks that's why it won like song of the year or whatever award it won. She said she chalks it all up to the bridge.
That's what Beyonce says.
Yeah, that's what Beyonce says.
Oh, interesting.
I don't understand these music awards at all. Like,
I just think of the bridge is it's the part of the song that doesn't sound like the other parts.
Yeah, the bridge is just if you figure out what the chorus is and you figure out what the verses are, then the bridge is what's left over.
Yeah,
yeah.
and sometimes it's minor. So that's 2008. I almost said 2008. Top artists, number one artist by week. T.I. ruled, and Flo Rida, T-Pain, Rihanna. Yeah, any last, I mean, before we get to our top five, any last final thoughts on 2008?
On any songs or these?
Just like the general like year. I mean, we don't like, I like to sometimes, ask if anyone has any final thoughts just on the year in general.
I think the number ones ended up being pretty solid, at least better than I expected. But then as a whole, the top 100 I felt was really low. Like,
Yeah.
not,
I think
it was very hard for me to find songs,
Yes.
find songs for my top 5 going through the top 100.
Me too.
I absolutely agree. I was like, at first I was like, wow, maybe pop music actually was good. Because I thought these number ones were generally very good. And even the ones I didn't like so much, I was like, okay, this isn't like a bad song. But the top 100 I thought was like a lot of garbage, and it reminded me like why I didn't like pop music at the time.
Yeah, it's a lot of songs that are like very like, it's like you go back and like, oh, I remember this, and like, but it didn't like stay in the zeitgeist or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of that, more of that like auto tune that I didn't really like, and
Yeah.
all the other songs that feature T-Pain that we didn't talk about.
Should we get to our top fives?
Let's do it. Let me go first because I don't like my top 5. Let me get out of there.
All right, fine.
I don't feel good about where I ended up.
Okay.
All right.
Criticize.
Number 5. I think it's a bit of a cheesy song, but I think it's pretty, and it still gets stuck in my head sometimes, and it doesn't bother me when it does. And that is "Love Song" by Sarah Bareilles.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna play a little snippet.
But you make this hard on me. I'm not gonna write you a love song, 'cause you asked for it.
Okay, the snippet's shorter.
Cute. It's
Look,
cute. I like it. I like it.
she does Broadway now. She writes musicals. She was on
Well, have you seen the show?
the
Girls Five Eva?
I watched the first few. I liked it. I didn't love it.
Oh,
But
I thought it's hilarious. That's one of my favorite comedies recently.
yeah, well, it's like a Tina Fey comedy. Yeah, no, but you can like tell because it's such like a well done song. It's like, oh yeah, she's a good songwriter. Like, yeah.
My next song, I thought about taking off the list because of some recent controversy in the news.
Yeah, I know.
But decided to go with love the artist, love the art, not the artist. And I'm not talking about Kanye. I'm talking about MIA with Big Play.
Oh wow. Okay. So I'll also mention that is in my top 5 too.
Same.
Okay. Oh,
I get one down in a second if you wait. Sometimes I think sitting on trains. Every step I get to, I'm clocking that game. Everyone's a winner, we're making our fame. Bonafide hustler, making my name.
still one of the weirdest songs.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The first time I heard the like cash register, it's like, holy shit,
Hell,
this should not work, but it's somehow really
I
probably should have put it higher if I'm being honest now that I think about it. But
I think it's worth shouting out 2 things here. One is people forget what helped propel the song into the mainstream was a movie.
Slumdog Millionaire.
No, Pineapple Express.
Oh, right, yes, that's right, because it was in the
Oh, she might have,
trailer,
she might have done songs, but it was Pineapple Express.
but then it was in the movie Slumdog Millionaire, but that was next year.
Was it?
It was,
Are
yeah.
you sure about that?
It says is featured in the popular 2008 films Pineapple Express and Slumdog Millionaire.
Oh, okay.
I did not.
Maybe.
I remember it kind
I
of
was
Pineapple
way
Express.
ahead
I
of
do
curve on
not.
Slumdog Millionaire. I was like seeing Slumdog Millionaire before it was cool, and then it turned out that it became Best Picture, and I was really surprised.
Yeah. Well, it didn't come out
Because my
until
girlfriend at the time
Christmas.
was from India, and she was like, "Oh, you should check out this movie." And I was like, "This rocks! This is a great movie, and it has this song that I love, Paper Planes in it."
I remember liking the movie a lot. I do not remember this needle drop from that movie.
It's when they're on the train, I think.
Shout out to one of the great samples of really recent memory. This, sampling the Clash, one of the best samples.
What's the? I don't know the Clash well enough. What's the sample?
Here, I'll play a snippet. It's a song called "Straight to Hell." Speaking of very strange songs that are somehow work, here I'll play a little snippet.
How's about a British jig and reel? Speaking King's English in quotation as railhead towns feel.
Yeah, there's like the guitar,
Yeah. I heard it.
Yeah, great song.
3, I Kissed a Girl, which I don't know. I felt like doing one from the number ones. I'm iffy on if that should have actually ended up on my list or not. 2, I'd say probably the most talked about song in our high school of any song from this list. I could be wrong. Don't know where I'm going with this. Another one that gets people on the dance floor at weddings still, though you don't hear it as much as Low. It's Crank That by Soul.
Oh, that's still in the charts. Oh, okay. We had talked about that because I was.
What was that into? I don't remember talking about it last episode.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
last one? Oh, okay. Well, it was only 5 months.
Superman,
Oh wait, that's a remix. Nope.
Superman, that yeah, why me crack that RoboCop? Super friend, now why me jocking on them, hate them, man. When I do that, Soldier Boy, I lean to the left and crank that thing now.
Do they still play that song? I guess they kind of do.
No, come on, no.
I could be complaining it because they now play it at Northwestern games. But it definitely has had staying power, that's for sure.
Totally disagree.
I'm confident about that.
Well,
DJ Commando at Northwestern games at Renfield still plays Soldier Boy, and the student section who was barely alive when it came out still dance to it. People know the Soldier Boy dance.
That's kind of amazing.
Crank that.
I think it's legitimately a good song.
When we reviewed it the last time, I liked it more than I hated it when it came out. But
yeah, me too. But a big part of that was all the rumors about what it meant to Superman.
Supermaning that hoe.
Yeah,
That's what that means.
But I'm pretty sure that's all just fabrication. I don't think
it sounds very made up.
Yeah,
I don't
even
think
at the
it
time
was-
it sounded made up, but I think I was convinced like, oh, well, I can't like that. Then that's horrible.
yeah, I don't think
Number 1, definitely a major influence for my way, but I think it's a great song. Is Sorry Kanye, Love Story by Taylor Swift.
interesting. Okay, let's play a little bit of Love Story.
That you were Romeo, you were throwing pebbles, and my daddy said stay away from Juliet, and I was crying on the staircase, begging you please don't go. And I said, Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone.
Early Taylor is not my favorite, but this song I've always liked. And when I say always, I mean since like 2016, 17, because I didn't really listen to it at the time much. But yeah, it's a pretty song. As you've seen in a few of my choices, the like kind of more gentle, pretty songs stand out to me, I think, because of how different most of the number ones were.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it a lot.
And these Taylor Swift songs definitely stand out in this time. Like, and not really what's like cool or new or whatever.
Yeah,
Well, she was very country at this time.
Yeah, this is
She
still
had a
very
whole
like
different
country.
audience.
Except that she had already broken out with or Is You Belong With Me after this? I don't know. But either way, like her pop turn is already in full effect.
Yeah, I will say because this song and You Belong With Me are like the same period, so I associate them. I really wanted to put this song on my list, and I didn't, but You Belong With Me, like, I think that's an amazing song. I love that song. It's so catchy. I mean, this is a super catchy song, but
Is You Belong With Me after this or before? Because I feel like it's got to be in the top.
it's just, I mean, it's the same album. It's like,
right.
I think it was like
Right.
a
We'll
single.
be talking about it next episode.
Yeah. I'll go, and then Max, we can wrap up with you. So yeah, I'll just do my top 5. So number 5 is somewhat of a one-hit wonder. It's American Boy, which is Estelle featuring Kanye West.
American boy, he said, hey sister, it's really, really nice to meet ya. I just met this 5'7" guy who's just my type. Like the way he's speaking, his confidence is peaking.
So to me, like, I think this is a song I still hear, like, at, like, you know, parties and what, like, I think this is very much like still a very popular song. I don't know, like,
I agree.
if you guys still.
I'm not sure if I listened to this one.
I don't think it's that common, but I've definitely heard it in the not too distant past.
I like it.
It was on my short list.
Yeah, it's a very it's like one of those pop songs I feel like everyone likes. And actually I really like Kanye's verse on it. It's a very like fun, like, verse, memorable verse. And there's more Kanye to come, I hate to admit, but you know, this is when he wasn't super anti-Semitic. Number 4 is Lollipop by Lil Wayne. I've already spoken on that. Number 3 is Paper Planes by MIA. You know, I still don't know if it's weird. Like, I like the song. I don't know if I love the song. Like, I think people like at the time were like, oh, this song is like, you know, it's like way up for like, you know, Pitchfork and like, you know, every publication was like this, you know. But it's a really cool, unique song, obviously. Number 2 is it's a Kanye West song. It's called Flashing Lights.
But she believe in shoes and cars, wood floors in the new apartment, couture from the store's departments. You more like love to start shit. I'm more of the trips to Florida, order the hors d'oeuvres, views of the water, straight.
Yeah, I mean, that song kind of blew me away when I first heard it. I was like, wow, these like synths are huge. And like, I mean, this whole album was like so big, like, and it's not even my favorite Kanye album by any measure, but this song to me was like always a standout. Just a really cool like synth sound.
I gotta apologize, David. If it was my fault we pushed this back, if we could have just recorded this at the original date, you wouldn't have been canceled for putting Kanye in.
Oh yeah, I have no other problem with them. That's the only problem, is nothing else he's done that I don't like. And number 1 is Millie by Lil Wayne.
Brother, son, daughter, father, motherfucker, copper, got the Maserati dancing on the bridge, pussy poppin', tell the coppers, ha 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 ha, you can't catch them, you can't stop them, I go by them goon rules, if you can't beat them, then you pop them, you can't man them, then you mop them, you can't stand them, then you drop them, you pop them, cause we pop them like Orville Redenbacher. Motherfucker, I'm ill.
I mean, to me, it's like that just epitomizes his thing, like. And to me, like, I mean, this was a song that, like, to me was in like the like people like were I remember like people putting in like their Facebook bios like lyrics from that. Just, you know, they're very like memorable lyrics, like ridiculous, like little like punchlines, and you know, but it's also like such a minimalist, like, you know, simple beat. I when it came out, I was like, this doesn't sound like anything else that's out right now, and I still think it doesn't really sound like anything. This is one of my favorite Lil Wayne songs, certainly. I love that song.
Still stuck in Kanye. First Kanye came for George Bush, and I wasn't George Bush, so I didn't say
Oh,
anything.
Lord.
Then Kanye came for Taylor
Then he
Swift.
came for Taylor Swift.
Wow,
Then he
I
came-
He
love
was
before
really
Brady
right about both of them.
And then he came for the Jews, and there was nobody to stand up for Dave.
You know, he's come for a lot of other people, to be fair, between Taylor Swift and the Jews. But I get the sentiment. That's fair. Ignore that. That's fine. All right, Max, you have your top 5.
Sure, sort of. Well, let's see. Okay, so I want to start number 5 with one that I learned from preparing for this podcast. I did not know this song, but I really dug it. Take You There by Sean Kingston.
This I gotta hear. Take You There.
Take You There.
Okay, let's see it. I'll probably remember it. Let's see.
Move to the tropics, sip pina coladas. Shorty, I could take you there. Or we can move to the slums where killers get hung. Shorty, I could take you there.
Big
Hi,
year.
Ben.
It's no beautiful
Uh,
girls, but it's
Not-
Yeah, some yeah, Jamaican vibes. I don't know. I was very into like Bob Marley in my early dad rock kind of phase, and I feel like I never really appreciated the actual like Jamaican pop hip hop music that was coming out at my time, and I think I do actually really like it if I gave it more of a shot
Dance
based
hall.
on this. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, then next I put the other Katy Perry hit, Hot and Cold, or Hot in Cold?
Yeah, hot and cold.
Cold.
Kiss, we make up. You don't really wanna stay, no. You don't really wanna go. You're hot, then you're cold. You're yes, then you're no. You're in, then you're out. You're up, then you're down.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Very silly lyrics. Also, this one, the other one is homophobic. This one is just straight up misogynistic, I think. Like, she's like talking about,
I
she's
thought it was just
like-
naming opposites.
she literally says like, you change. She like says that he's on PMS or something. Like,
Oh, wow.
I think it's one of the first lyric lines of the song.
I mean, so she was really going for like the I'm gonna like, you know,
Yeah,
be like I'm the like, you know, naughty, like
I'm naughty.
I'm
I'm
gonna
mean
make
to
fun of
women.
everyone. Yeah.
As long as they're women. But yeah. But no, that's a really fun song. And then I have to pick of those 3.
You're allowed honorable mentions if there are any you want to name.
What?
There.
Oh, well, honorable mention, if I can get it to get played, has to go back to My President is Black.
Was it
Which-
that was on the list?
What? No.
Then it doesn't get played.
You know, I'm gonna close the whole episode with that song.
Yeah.
That'll be like the outro music.
I could just like, I heard that song so many times. I think because my brother thought it was hilarious that
It is
that
funny.
song like came. It was just so funny to just be like, it's like the middle of the year. It's not even elected yet, and we already have like this celebration song. And then it was worked, and then we were like, finally, we can put it on without jinxing it.
That's the type of thing it's like surprising the reverse didn't happen for Hillary winning in
I know that's
Wow.
bad.
My
in
president-
2016.
My
Is a
president
woman.
is a woman. Yeah.
Just a premature celebration would have been so good.
yeah.
There are probably some examples that I'm forgetting. Yeah.
Well, the Doughboys is a famous one.
Yeah. Funny.
Oh man.
I don't want to step on your top 3, so I want to name my only honorable mention that I forgot to say was See You Again by Miley Cyrus. I didn't remember this one, and I was surprised how it's like kind of a rock song and it works, I thought. But you don't need to play it. We can keep it moving.
Which one?
See You Again. I knew the other one that appeared on the list from her.
I think that's more.
I
it
only
might be-
vaguely knew this song.
It might be. Let's hear. It might be technically a Hannah Montana song.
When you looked in my eyes, now I can't wait to see you again.
no memory of that song. But I feel like the whole Hannah Montana was like past our age group anyway.
Oh, I hated it because it was like my sister was watching it so much. And
Right.
It was like,
Yeah.
So it was right in that window. But I've come to appreciate Miley.
We'll hear more from Miley.
Mhm.
Okay, and
okay.
then I've got Don't Stop the Music,
I'm kind of surprised I didn't put that on my list.
Rihanna.
Yes.
It's because we talked about it last episode. Is why I think both of us
Yeah, maybe
kind of
that's
skipped
why.
it.
It was more of a 2007 song.
I'll play.
But same with Soldier
Which
Boy.
was because I
We
was
talked
kind
about
of
it.
thinking of that with Single Ladies is more of a 2009 song.
That's
Possible candidate, yeah. Who knew that you'd be up in here looking like you do? I just came here to party, but now we're rocking on the dance floor, acting.
the Michael Jackson sample.
You'll get there sometime.
The great Michael Jackson.
Yeah. And then I gotta put at number 2, the number 1 song of the year, Low.
Okay.
Because it is in the absolute upper echelon of hit the dance floor wedding song, and will be for decades to come, perhaps. And then number 1, no doubt in my mind, as soon as I saw the list, I was like, oh, okay, I know exactly what the number 1 song is. The only song on the entire list that I liked in 2008, Paper Planes, MIA. It had such a huge crossover like appeal, right? In that it was like all the indie kids, we were like, this song is great. And then it became like actually like a mainstream hit song too. And we were all like, it was a real like, you know,
bridging the
we were all like, we can all just get along with this this weird Sri Lankan rapper.
I remember my mom liking this
Cash
song.
register. Yeah, it's awesome.
there you go.
And a lot of like sound effects.
Yeah, it's got all the Foley artists are really on board. This reaches everybody.
Every load of gunshots and it's what a weird song.
It's weird for such a weird song to be so well received by such a wide variety of audiences.
Mhm.
And there were other songs from that album. I was like, this is catchier. Like, why is this not the big song? I was like, it sounds weird. It sounds unique.
I don't think I've listened to like any other MIA. I don't know why.
You might like those albums. I think you would. They're I don't like. I'm not really going back to them, but they're really interesting and different. Very like global sounding, obviously.
Paper Planes. Also, there's a cocktail named after it called the Paper Plane that is named after the song. That is it's a famous modern cocktail. I think I have had it. It is good. It's one of these like kind of, I think it's like a Negroni riff or something like that. One of these equal parts cocktails.
I'll have to. Next time I go to a bar, I'm gonna ask for a Paper Plane. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, probably. You got to go to the right bar.
Equal parts bourbon, Aperol, Amaro Nonino, which I don't know what that is, and lemon juice.
Oh, it's a riff on the last word, if I recall correctly, not an Negroni.
I don't even know what a last word is, but
Something similar to that.
It says the recipe is a riff on a last word, which is a riff on the classic Corpse Reviver #2.
A New Orleans cocktail, Corpse Reviver #2.
with that, that is 2008. So thank you, Max. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thanks
it was
for
fun.
joining us in our journey back into 2008. Hopefully we will be back sooner than 5 months, right, Will?
I'm confident.
I think we can figure it out. We'll be back in 2009, and like I promised, we will wrap up with
On my way to Savannah, black, my lamb